Going on, team? Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we, guys? Happy, nearly Christmas. Not really. Okay, we still got 20 days to go in the year, but I am super pumped. So if you're coming into this one, guys, I would love to know about it. Get into the comments. Let us know that you're coming into another episode of the podcast. We're going to be starting this one in a couple of minutes. Brothers and sisters, how are we? Good morning. Look at this crew coming in. I love it. We're piling in. This is hopefully going to bring you some energy going into this week. So, get stuck and get sorted. Who we got? We got some. Look, it's always the same guys. The Kings coming in. I love it so much. We got Tez's in here. Lovely. The big dog. How are you, mate? I'm just going to pop that up here. Who else we got? Now, morning user. I don't know who this is, but good morning. Maddie Harvey, I sent a message to Sue this morning, brother. I think your account has been hacked, my main man. I got a message from a one Matthew Harvey with the exact same profile as you this morning, brother. So you want to report that to Facebook. You've been duplicated, mate. Who else have we got? Nikki Friend, how are you, legend? Lovely to have your company here. Bernadette Hopley, we don't usually get your company here on the Monday podcast, Bern, so it's lovely to have your company. I hope you're good. Hello, Kevy. How are you, my legend? Morning. Evening, rather, for you. We've got Ash Saunders in here as well. Couple of people that haven't authorized Restream, which I haven't put the link here, but it's all good. Jackie, what's going on, girl? Lovely to have you in here. We've got 14 people watching live, and we're going to get started in 1 minute. Benny Richardson. Now, guys, how about this? Who wants to hear? I'm going to put him on the spot on the podcast right now. Who wants to hear from Ben Richardson, who is nearing Travis to all-time weight loss records? Who thinks we should get Benny Richardson on a podcast over the course of, before Christmas? I think we bloody should, because this dude is an absolute machine. So, Benny, are you going to take me up on the offer, bro? We got Ames Flemings. How are you, Ames? Wendy's in here as well. Hello, Wendy. Mitchie Taylor. Ooh, special guest this morning. Hello, buddy. Lovely to have your company here. Joe's here as well. We're getting started in 30 seconds, team. I'm going to go live on TikTok and bring the crew in here as well. Yes, Nikki Friend says yes. Look at this. Everyone wants you, Benny, on the podcast, mate. Chris, how are you, mate? Morning, Bobby Gordon. How are you, legend? All right, guys, I think we are ready to rock and roll. By the way, do you guys like my new space? Kind of did this last night. Take it up a level. I think it looks a little bit more presentable. But anyway, as long as the podcast keeps serving you guys, then I'm a happy boy. So let's get stuck into another episode of the Better Body Academy podcast on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. And today, I want to have an important discussion as we come into the last 20 days of 2022. We're live across YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the numbers, because I want to take this message to the people. I'm so fucking psyched at the moment for two reasons. Okay, two reasons. Because in about 30 hours from now, I'm going to be getting on a plane and coming back to Australia to hang out with my family, my friends, and of course you, our Better Body Academy beloved members. So I'm super pumped about that. And because we've just launched our 12 Days of Fitness Challenge, and it looks like, at a guess here, there's about 100 men and women across both our men's and women's groups that have decided to partake in this challenge. The best bit is that's included a lot of those old Better Body Academy members that have grown a bit of moss, as Dan Williams said, being wallflowers in the background, lurking in the dark for a period of time, Mitchie Taylor, and getting back amongst it today. This is good. So let's talk about the challenge firstly, and we'll also talk about the idea and the content before we really rip into this morning's podcast. So let's start with the content. To any of you that are waiting to be torn to shreds with difficulty for this challenge that we're about to run, that's not it, okay? it's not going to be difficult. There's two parts to the challenge. Each day, we set the challenge for you to get 10,000 steps. As you know, that's part of our model anyway, our signature system of transformation. If you can't commit to your 10,000 steps, injuries aside, it's going to be a struggle. Okay, so that's the first part. If that means that you're doing circles of your house until 11:59 p.m. for the next 12 days, then do it. Don't make excuses. Number two, each day at about 5 a.m. Sydney time, I'll release a challenge. I'll pin it to the top of our Facebook group. It's already in there this morning. And it just might be something simple like a sweaty selfie, an affirmation, a reflection I want you to make, a specific task or an insight. Okay, it's not going to be super challenging every day. So keep a lookout for the post in the morning when you wake up. Do the simple task and post it into the comment section of the post. Now, I want to talk about the idea of why we are running this challenge. It's pretty goddamn simple. I think that in the short term, committing to something for 12 days is really, really important. Because in a fitness transformation, it's so common for us to set these huge, unrealistic expectations in such a short period of time, and we struggle to follow through because we get overwhelmed. Do you guys feel that? You get overwhelmed in your journey, and the consequence of not following through is a hit to our confidence and our self-esteem. So I'm always saying how, your word to yourself is sacred. And if you keep saying one thing and then not following through on it, then you're constantly breaking your word and building distrust with yourself. And this is the precise reason that people get stuck. So far more important than the individual challenge ideas that we're doing is the concept of participating for 12 days and getting stuck in. The goal of this challenge is to give you 12 days of intention and follow through. 12 days of no excuses. 12 days of accountability. 12 days of I can do this. 12 days. When you're able to commit to short-term things, you can gradually add to them and commit to longer-term things. So let's set the time right now. Let's make this happen, guys. All right, question for Facebook, Instagram, etc. Did you guys happen to catch the post that I did by any chance yesterday? I talked about 2022 being a quite difficult year for myself, certainly for our family. Bringing a little baby into the world is the most magical thing in the world. I spoke of how, however, I'm somewhat disappointed in my own results, but how I need to offer myself some compassion and look at things from a greater world perspective. Bringing a kid into the world and giving your ultimate amount of love to that kid is a challenge when you're sleep deprived, and often something's going to give. One of my long-term clients, Balraj Singh, Bal, I don't know if you're watching this, but I'm calling you out. He messaged me shortly after the post and he said, "Coach, this riles me up." I got on a 5-minute call with Balraj and his words were, "Your post resonated with me because I went from killing it in my own journey to getting married and not only able to keep all the balls in the air between family and work and health. And so your post reminded me that, hey, if even my coach struggles at times, I've got to give myself some compassion and clear off this feeling of failure." Guys, let me know in the comments if that hits you. Okay? Is this something that you need to press reset on? This kind of feeling of like, I can't keep all this. It's okay. What does a juggler do when he drops one of his balls? He doesn't cry and go home. He picks them up and he starts again. And I couldn't agree more with the way that Balraj approached this. So I want to talk about a law today called the vacuum law of prosperity. Has anyone ever heard of this law? The vacuum law of prosperity. Say me in the comments if you've ever heard of this law before. This is the absolute perfect time to talk about this, given that we are nearing the end of the year and approaching a fresh start in 2023. It seems to me that most people by the middle of December just want the year to be over so that they can wipe the slate clean and press reset on their life at the start of the year. I mean, it's really hard not to argue with that mindset, right? If you feel like this year has been a slog for you and you're kind of trying to get to the finish line and you've accumulated a bunch of baggage, then it's totally understandable that you would feel that by the conclusion of December, you can put that luggage down and press reset. Now, who's got in their mind here? I want a show of hands in the comments. Come on, get involved, guys. I know a lot of you are at the gym and that's okay. But I want a show of hands. Who has said to themselves, next year's going to be different? Next year's going to be different. But for most of us, this is how we will start the new year. Let me know if this kind of resonates. We're telling ourselves that next year is going to be different, but this is how we start the year. We've just eaten and drunken a bunch of delicious festive foods. We'll have put on a little bit of weight, which in itself is not a problem actually. Perhaps we've been lucky enough to have a week or two or maybe 3 off work. Maybe we've taken some holidays and things get back to normal maybe on the 10th or 15th of January, perhaps. And it's time to get to our goals on the 10th or 15th of January. The problem is, over the previous 15 or 20 days, we've come to a complete stop in our momentum. And we haven't properly cleared the space for prosperity next year. In other words, we are turning up with the same baggage and the same mindset in the new year with zero momentum, pretending that things are going to be magically different. Now, I want you guys to step back and look at your history and ask yourself, is it likely to be different? Ange, is it likely to be different? Tara, is it likely to be different? Mitch, is it likely to be different? Is it likely to be different? From what you've seen historically, if you have the same baggage and you have the same mindset, is 2023 likely to be different? I'm just going to be honest and say, fucking no chance. It's not going to be different. In fact, next year is going to be exactly the same as the year before, which was exactly the same as the year before, which was exactly the same as the year before, unless you change what you do. So it's far better for us to stop kidding ourselves and admit that fact. At this point, I want to ask you guys, TikTok, Facebook, I want to ask you, do you really know what you want? Do you really know what you want? Now, that's a very basic question, but a profound question. Do you know what you want from your life next year? What are you unhappy with about your life currently? What do you want to change about your life? What would you love to experience next year? What would you love to achieve next year? Because first and foremost, if you don't know what you want, how are you going to get it? Like, hopefully there's like a little kind of red light going on there, guys. If you don't know what you want, it's like the equivalent of jumping into your car in the morning, getting the kind of Google Maps up, and then putting it back down again without inserting a destination and then just driving. How do you know where you're going if you don't know where the destination is? And if you've never really asked that question, I would suggest take a moment in the next couple of days with a blank piece of paper, like just get yourself a little pad like this and just start writing. My bet is that you're going to write a bunch of pages and you'll fill up the pages with not too much effort. Because if it's the first time you've ever actually asked yourself, what do I actually want? You're going to have brain firing like, hang on, I've got the chance to do something here. So now you've written down what you want. What do you do next? Okay, right now I'm going to give you the keys to the next phase of your success plan. So listen up. Firstly, I want to give you an analogy so you understand it better. Let's pretend that you had a medium-term goal to build the house of your dreams, where you'd raise your family, share memories for a lifetime. You've imagined what the home looks like. You've got the engineers, you've got the builders to draft the plan. You even know exactly to the color how you're going to furnish it. You finally save the money to buy the block with a rundown shack that's been on that block since 1950. Before you get to constructing your dream home, what is the one thing that you need to do? The one thing that you must do before you can construct your dream home? What's the one thing that you must do? Let me know in the comments. First one in gets bonus points. Like, what's the one thing that you must do before you can get to constructing your dream home? You gotta knock the shack over to clear space for your dream home. You can't build your dream home over the top of the shack, so you have to bulldoze the existing place first. Can you see where I'm about to go with this, guys? Can you see where I'm about to go with this? Too many of us have not done up the plans for our dream home. That's why we're not getting success, because we don't know what we want. But far more of us have not got rid of the shitbox so that we can actually clear space on which to build our new house. This is the vacuum law of prosperity. The vacuum law of prosperity states that when you make space for the good that you desire, that's when things you want can and will start to come. I'll say that again. When you make space for the good that you desire, that's when things that you want can and will start to come. This is one of the most important things we can ever learn. If you have things in your life that you don't really like or don't really want, then you need to get rid of them. Sell them, give them away, throw them out. And this must include your old mindset. You must draw a line in the sand, guys. This means learning how to release old limiting beliefs and thought patterns that are keeping you from receiving the abundance that the universe has to give you, but can't give you because there's too much stuff occupying your space. Does this make sense? And can you see how this pairs perfectly with the law of attraction? Everyone knows of the law of attraction, but how can you attract anything if there's no room for you to house it? The universe cannot put good into your hand until you let go of what you are currently holding. I'll say that again. The universe cannot put good into your hand until you let go of what you are currently holding. So the question is, what are you still holding on to that you need to release? I'm going to give you some examples right now. The old clothes that no longer fit and you never want to get back into anyway, why are you holding on to them? Is it possible that this is a subconscious backup in case you put the weight back on? Is that possible? That we're still holding on to those clothes just in case we put the weight back on? Burn them, get rid of them, donate them, never to be seen again. The cupboard that's full of the shit food that you eat when you're feeling emotional and stressed out and bored, why don't you just clear it out? Get rid of it. Are you holding on to that food until you get emotional, stressed, and bored again? Get rid of it. The relative, this is a big one. I want to know if any of you feel this. The relative that you always have around at Christmas because they're part of the family, but every year they cause an argument at Christmas. Why don't you just uninvite them for the first year in a decade? Uninvite them. Don't bring them round. Why pollute your Christmas? On a deeper level, guys, the trauma that you experienced years ago that's still gripping you, And I know this is so freaking hard for some people. Like, I can't even talk to the level of hardness there is for some people. But if it's gripping you in victimhood, can we begin working on that so that we can let some goodness come in to fill the space? It will be challenging. It will be triggering. But is it time to create some space so that some goodness can come in and fill that void? And lastly, to those of you that have created a story about yourself for so many goddamn years, these stories that are accumulating like dust-filled paperbacks on a shelf, only in your mind, it's time to burn those stories and start writing some new ones. Team, if you're in Better Body Academy, we've created this fitness challenge to get you into momentum before the new year, so that you're not hanging all your hopes on another failed New Year's resolution. All you need to do is commit for the next 12 days and follow on. It's relatively simple. And over the course of the next 20 days, I'm going to suggest you take some time to clear some space so that the vacuum law of prosperity will allow you to let good things enter your life. 2023, it can be your year. It can be. But not if you repeat the same behaviors of the past 2 decades and don't create the space for the good stuff to come in. And if you're watching or listening to this and you're not in Better Body Academy, like, what the hell are you doing? Sleeping on another year of being overweight, unhealthy, lacking self-esteem, confidence. That's a choice, and we are offering you, our community is offering you, an alternative. And that includes those of you that are inside Better Body Academy and growing moss. Team, this is a chance to press reset. But reset means clearing off with the old to bring some space for the new. Hopefully this has been a helpful podcast to start today. Guys, this has been the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you're sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. Happy Monday. I'll see you in the next episode.